Morning, everybody. Today is the final day of the presentations of semester 2 students, and in this session, we will have on Indian and Western poetics. The presentations will be made on Indian poetics and Western poetics. Okay? So let us have a very quick view on the list of the presentations that are to be made today. Okay, so we will start with Sanket's presentation on Ras as springs of art in Indian aesthetics. Trupti's will be on the use of Vakrokti in stand-up comedy, how irony shapes modern humor. Krupali's on psychology of Ras. Can ancient aesthetics shape modern cognitive theories? Kumkum on drama and aesthetics. A comparative study of Aristotle's poetics and Bharat's Natya Shastra. Parthiv on Dhwani in horror. The fear of the unsaid in Gothic fiction and films. Bhumi on cinematic ras, the soul of Indian storytelling. Divya on Indian poetics and feminist literary criticism. Khushi Ravia on psychological vakrokti in Bollywood. Dream, reality, and metaphor in Tamasha. Bhargav on the use of ras in Sanskrit and English literature and cinema. Khushi Makwana on Fry's influence on literary criticism. Krishna Wara on archetypes behind iconic brands. Jai on archetypal criticism in The Lion King, a Northrop Frye perspective. Jyoti on Northrop Frye's myth and archetypal theory. Rutvi on Northrop Frye and the death of authorial intent, a structuralist perspective. Dhruvika on the role of archetypes in literature. Capital L should be there for the literature word. Khushi Goswami on figurative language as a tool for manipulation. So by and large, quite interesting topics are framed. We hope you will be able to give justice to the topic also. And today you have to strictly follow the timeline. Within 8 minutes, you will have to complete your presentation, and 2 to 3 minutes will be there for questions and answers. Okay, let us start with the first presentation.
Hello everyone, I am Sanket Vavadia, and today I am going to presentation on the topic the rasas as a spring of art in Indian aesthetics. Here is my academic information, table of contents, research question and hypothesis. My research question is how does the concept of rasa in Indian aesthetics as a outline in the Natya Shastra function as an emotional and spiritual essence that elevates artistic expression across classical and contemporary Indian art forms? And my hypothesis is the theory of rasa rooted in Bharat Natya Shastra not only form of a foundation of Indian aesthetics but also continue to be relevant and transformative, shaping emotional engagement and narrative depth in modern Indian performing arts and cinema. Let us start with the introduction of Natya Shastra. As we know, the Natya Shastra is the best Sanskrit uh, ancient text by Bharat Muni. So it was a great text by Bharat Muni, and it was a often regarded as the fifth Veda. As we know, the four ancient Vedas like Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva, Yajur Veda and Atharva. But Natya Shastra often considered as the fifth Veda. Uh, it is written in Sanskrit mainly in a sloka with some prose, and the time of written in the estimate between the 5th century BC and 7th 8th century CE. Uh, in a Natya Shastra covers the diverse aspect of theaters like origins, performance, dance, music, plot, acting, gesture, costume, character types, etc. So all those things discussed in the Natya Shastra. Uh, Influence and legacy. Uh, the Natya Shastras inspired by medieval texts like Dashrupak by Dhananjay also influenced this text, and the second one is the surviving commentary uh, by Abhinav Bharti by Abhinav Gupta in 10th and 11th century. Definition of rasa. Rasa is a foundational concept of Indian art and aesthetics, particularly within classical dance, drama, music, literature, originating in the ancient texts of Natya Shastra. Rasa refers to the emotional essence or mood evokes in the audience through artistic performance. It represents the transcendental joy or emotional resonance, combine elements like a narrative expression, music, and rhythm. So, in the definition of rasa, we see the uh, we can see in the classical aesthetics in ancient times like dance, drama, music, and literature, etc. Types of rasa. So total 9 types of rasa, but primarily consider eight types of eight types of rasa, and the ninth type of rasa is shant rasa, which was later added in Natya Shastra. So here is each type of rasa: Shringar, Hasya, Karun, Rudra, Veer, Bhayanak, Bibhats, Adbhut, and Shanta. The Shant ras is a later add on. This is the facial expression of rasa. Example of rasas. I put this ancient or some Sanskrit text of example of use of rasa in Avignan Sakuntalam by Kalidas. Use of a Sringar rasa in this text. Second one is Veni Samharam by Bhas. Use of Rudra rasa in this text. Third one is a Kiratarjuniam by Bharvi, use of Utsaras. Fourth one is a Urubhang by Bhas, use of Pieras. Origin and development of rasa. First, we see the term the rasa. Rasa come from the Sanskrit root, and it was a meaning of a taste or a flavor. Flavor we can say that as a rasa, and in the concept of Indian aesthetic, rasa refers to the sentiment or aesthetic emotion that evokes the audience. Now we see the origin and development of rasa. The uh, it was rooted in a Bharat's Natya Shastra, the time between the 200 BC to uh, 200 CE. Uh, Initially linked to a psychological test, rasa is equal to a flavor, evokes into the metaphor for emotional expression in art. So initially the rasa linked with the psychological test, and it also evolved from the as a metaphor emotional experience in art. Uh, so as I say in a previous slide, Bharat identify 8 rasas derived from basic emotions and later added the 9 rasa. So primarily we can see the 8 rasa is used in the text, but the shant rasa add on later. Rasa become the central concept of Indian aesthetics. The We can say that, and also some critics also say that the rasa is the central concept of Indian aesthetic, like rasa is the soul of art. So we can say that the rasa become the central concept of Indian aesthetic, and a soul means without body but no have soul, so it is worthless. So same in a Natya Shastra, same in a some dramatic, without rasa it without rasa it will be failed without rasa. And rasa arises from artful representation, not direct emotion expression. So rasa is a artful representation, not emotional expression. Uh, the concept of rasa evolved into a comprehensive aesthetic philosophy, influenced poetry, drama, etc. So rasa concept evolved into various literary forms like poetry, drama, novel, etc. There are some key contributors of rasa theory. First one is Bharat, laid the foundation of Nati Shastra. The second one is Bhattanayak, aesthetic experience is a transcendental state. Third one is Abhinav Gupta. It dependent rasa theory introduced the concept of a mental state and emotional synthesis. So these are the key contributors of rasa theory, and they give theory of rasa. Rasa is the soul of art. As I say in the previous slide, uh, in the Natya Shastras, chapter 6, written this quote, Nahi Ratsa Dhrute Kassi Dartha Pravartate. It means the without rasa, not possible, not possible artistic expression. So rasa becomes the central concept of art. Rasa add emotional depth, beauty, and significance of art. So rasa in a artistic expression, rasa adds emotional depth, beauty, and significance of art. Rasa creates bridge between artist and viewers. So rasa create bridge between artist and viewers. So rasa is the soul of art, we can say that. It is the emotional and spiritual essence that make memorable and impactful. So artistic expression with rasa make a memorable and impactful. Rasa is what elevated art from mere imitative and soulful expression. Relevance of rasa theory today. So used in a modern performing arts and traditional art. Also, I put this example of the classical and contemporary theaters like Bharatnatyam, Kathak, and other form of still use rasa as a base. So here I put the map of traditional dance like Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Kuchipudi, etc. And uh, in a different state, performing different art, different different dance, different art. So in the traditional folk dance also use the rasa, foundation for Indian aesthetics, form of core of Indian drama, dance, music, cinema, and literature even today. So in a Indian drama, dance, music, cinema, literature also use the rasa. Influence in cinema, Bollywood and regional films
Okay,
use
it
rasa
is
like.
already 9 minutes now. Yeah, okay. And we don't have any questions also still to be asked.
Okay, sir. These are some also used in Bollywood and cinema. Also use this type of rasa. These are some example of uh, contemporary example of use of rasa. In the conclusion, so in the Natya Shastra also use of this type of conclusion. And this is my references. And thank you everyone. Now you can ask freely question to me.
Okay, reply to the questions
Okay, sir.
in the comment. Yeah, next presenter. These are your questions which you will reply in the comment. Okay?
So, hello everyone. Myself Trupti Hadia, and the last day of our presentation, I'll deal with the topic stand-up comedy: how irony shapes modern humor. So, here are my personal information, then table of contents, and my research question is: in what ways does irony function as a tool in modern stand-up comedy to challenge societal norm, question power structure, and engage audience critically? And hypothesis is in contemporary stand-up comedy, irony operates as more than just a comedic technique, and it serves as the strategic tool for social commentary, and audience use comedians use it to veil bold critiques, address controversial topic, and without direct confrontation, and provoke thoughtful reflection while maintaining audience connection through humor. And a very brief overview of Vakrokti, that it means oblique or indirect twisted expression, which was developed by Kuntak in Vakrokti Jivita. And if we see the connection to the comedy, just as Sanskrit poets use Vakrokti to enhance poetic expression, and stand-up comedians use irony, directions, and wordplay. So through this, stand-up comedian use this Vakrokti to satire and to say in a different way. Like irony and humor helps to challenge taboos, social norms, and power structures. Here are the six levels of the Vakrokti, like phonetics play, word level twist, letter word part twist, then sentence level irony, contextual irony, narrative based irony. If we see the types of Vakrokti in stand up comedy, we can see that here phonetics, which is one Vinyas Vakrokti, like Indian comedy Raju Srivastav. We can take example for this comedy style. Then for sentence level, we can take example of Virdas for this style. Then for contextual humor and misdirection, we can take Zakir Khan as example, who use master of misdirection and contextual humor, and especially in story telling. Then narrative based humor, we can take Abhishek Upmanyu, who blends the real life story telling with comedic exaggeration. So irony, it is not just it not coincidence, nor it is paradox. It can sometimes be satire, but by no means always, and it isn't a parody either. So, Vakrokti in stand-up comedy, the core of humor, that how comedians use Vakrokti. So, comedians use Vakrokti through misdirection, direction, like completely unexpected punchline and exaggeration, satire and irony. Also, they use wordplay and puns. They use observational humor. They find humor in everyday life and relatable situation. Then self deprecation, like they make fun of them himself, oneself, to connect with the audience also. And physical comedy also they use. And here avi Vakshita Vakya Dhwani. This technique allows multiple meaning in language without direct stating them. Like without direct stating them, they used to satire the thing. So Indian stand-up comedy and social commentary, if we see, so satirize political governments, like Varun Grover is known for it. Then gender and feminism, Amy Schumer is also famous for them. And for the class struggle and economic issues, we have Zakir Khan, who often talk about class struggle. Then LGBTQ and social change, Naveen Naroha, one of the Indian first openly gay comedian, using humor to talk about LGBTQ and its right. Then of religion and cultural critic, we have Munawar Faruqi, who is also using this. Then if we see the role of irony in political comedy, so stand-up comedians use irony to satirize the politics or social issue through the use of irony, like they applies to both liberal and conservative satire. And Vakrokti is a linguistic tool through which they can satire the government and the social issue. For example, during the Trump era, conservatives started using irony and satire, which were traditionally seen in liberal comedy. So Trump himself also used sarcasm in speeches to confuse critic and blurring the line between humor and serious statement. We see in the example of Trump and in the news channel also. And if we see the Indian context, like in recent year also, political comedy has become more polarized, reflecting how shift in leadership can reshape the tone of focus and satire, much like changes seen in the US during the Trump era. And we have recent controversy regarding Kunal Kamra also, who satirized uh, this politics. Like he became famous for openly mocking Modi governments and media bias also. So he represents the new wave of comedy who use humor to as a form of political resistance. And the recent controversy of Ranveer Allahabadi, if we see take then and connect it with the political satire, like he stated in India's Gauntlet, he stated one about the parents and the direct. It highlights the irony of public. If we see the its connection to political satire, it's highlight the irony of public figures facing backlash for speech similar to comedian in political satire. And Varun Grover's also commented on that, those who once advised political those who once advised that we should not make a comedy on politics, now they are in the controversy themselves. And the impact on free of speech and comedy, the question arises of our free of speech, that how much we should use that and what is the limit of it. So it raises concern about regulating digital content in media also, and reflects how humor, irony, and political speech intersect modern media. So, in a conclusion, we can say that stand-up comedy, enriched by Vakrokti, means twisted language, has evolved into more than just entertainment, and it's a vibrant form of social commentary. Through irony, satire, and sarcasm, comedians hold a mirror to society, question power structure, ignite important conversations. Whether progressive or conservative, humor shapes the narrative, steers public thoughts, and the taste the boundaries of free expression. And in the world where words carry a weight, comedy becomes a creative yet courageous act of truth telling. So here are my references.
Okay, yes. Quick question. Yes. That was exactly 8 minutes. Yeah.
So, Trupti, my question is: can humor still be considered harmless when it hold the power to challenge authority and shape public opinion?
If we use humor as a powerful tool to challenge authority and shape public opinion, it is harmless yet powerful tool to satirize, to make people aware of the what they are not or what they are ignoring. Though yes, it is harmless and even powerful tool for the society and politics.
So, Drupti, my question is, where should we draw the line between freedom of expression in comedy and the risk of offending societal or political sensitivities?
So question is that we should use we must have our freedom of expression or freedom of speech, as it's our fundamental right, but we should use it with a care. Like in our literature also, many writers use indirectly, like they satirize, so directly not they are stating or commenting anything, but through the use of with care, we can use to make people aware, make a satire on politics or social issue. So it will be better for the society also. So yes, this was from my side. Thank you.
Yes, so this answer in this, you should try to find from Indian aesthetics. In there is any reference to this or not? What should be the limit of freedom of expression or not? That will be better way to justify the question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, next one.
Thank you.
Yes, next one.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to dealing with the topic the psychology of rasa can ancient aesthetic shape modern cognitive theories. So here is my academic information, table of content, and my research question is that can Bharat's rasa theory enhance modern cognitive theory by offering insight into emotional perception, empathy, and aesthetic experience. And my hypothesis is that rasa theory, with its structured approach to emotional transformation, aligning with cognitive theories such as appraisal theory, affect theory, and emotional intelligence. By integrating rasa theory into modern cognitive psychology, we can improve our understanding of emotional processing, empathy, and neuroaesthetic experiences. So, introduction to rasa and cognitive theories. Definition of rasa theory. Rasa literally means the taste or savor, and is used to denote the essence of poetry. It signifies the peculiar experience that poetry affords. The nine primary rasas: Ringara, Hasya, Rudra, Karuna, Bibhatsya, Bhayanaka, Veera, Adbhuta, and Shanta. The concept of Sahridya, empathetic audience, suggests that emotions in art create a shared cognitive and emotional experience. Definition of cognitive theory. According to APA Dictionary of Psychology, any theory of a mind that focuses on mental activities such as perceiving, attending, the thinking, remembering, evaluating, planning, language, and creativity, especially a theory that suggests a model for the various process involved. So major theories are included in that cognitive appraisal theory, which given by Lazarus. Emotions arise based on our interpretation of events. Affect theory by Tompkins. Emotions shape human motivation and behavior. Emotional intelligence by Goleman. Managing emotions for personal and social success. Establishing connections. So what connection between them? So both rasa theory and cognitive psychology explores how emotions shapes human experience. Cognitive science can use rasa as a model to study aesthetic emotions and empathy. Emotional engagement in literature and art has measurable psychological and neurological effects. The psychological biases of rasa theory, how emotions are evoked. Bharat Natya Shastra describe how bhavas are transformed into rasa. The process of rasa realization involve both cognitive and affective engagement. Patankar argues that while modern critics often discarded rasa theory, it still offers a valuable framework for understanding emotions. Sahridya and empathy. The role of Sahridya aligns with the modern concept of mirror neurons and empathetic response in neuroscience. Redemption of rasa theory cannot be recommended on similar grounds, although the modern might find something through thought provoking in it. Rasa and modern cognitive psychology. Comparison with cognitive appraisal theory. Bhavas are proceed similarly to cognitive appraisal, where emotions arise based on individuals' interpretation of a situation. This aligns with how emotions can be regulated through cognitive strategies. Affect theory and rasa alignment. So basic emotions in affect theory aligns with rasas. Each rasa represent a fundamental emotional experience that shapes behavior and perceptions. Emotional intelligence and rasa. So training in rasa may enhance empathy, social awareness, and emotional regulation. In modern times, the rasa theory appears to have suffered as a hands of two groups of critics, indicating its underutilization in contemporary studies despite its psychological relevance. Neuroscience and the rasa experience. The neural mechanism behind aesthetic emotional Studies shows that watching a powerful performance stimulates the iambic system responsible for processing emotions. fMRI scans reveals how art and storytelling actives empathy circuits in the brain. The transformation of bhavas into rasa, along with modern studies into on emotional, cognitive, and neuroaesthetic responses. Neuroscientific research suggests that different rasas engage specific brain region associated with the emotions, regulation, memory, and sensory processing. Different emotions active a different part of brain. For example, some areas of the brain helps control emotion, so we don't feel overwhelmed. Some areas help with memory, so we remember the experience. Some areas process sensory experience like music, visuals, and movements. The prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotional responses, may play a role in the interpretation of artistic stimuli, aligns with Bharat's idea of emotional refinement through art. The mirror neuron system helps explain the Sahridya concept, where audience experience emotions variously, supporting empathy and shared affective responses. Neuroaesthetic growing field explores how aesthetic experience include those described in rasa theory, triggered cognitive and emotional response that enhance psychological well-being. Application in therapy and well-being. So art and emotion can help healing. Sant rasa is similar to in meditation and helps keep the mind calm. This idea is useful art therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and training to handle emotions better. The concept of rasa can be used in modern therapy to help people manage their feelings. This means that art and emotions are not just for enjoyment; they can also improve mental health. Rasa in media and digital age psychology. So emotional manipulation in modern media, films, advertisement, and social media use rasas to evoke specific emotion and shape consumer behaviors. Political speeches use Rodra and Karuna to influence public sentiments. Branding, so Apple and Nike use Vira and Adbhut to build inspirational narratives. The media often exploits aesthetic emotions to engage audience. The contemporary relevance of rasa theory. So, conclusion, rasa theory offers a structured approach to understanding emotions, emphasizing empathy and shared experience. It aligns with cognitive psychology and it is supported by neuroscience, which confirms emotional response to art and storytelling. It application in therapy, media, and behavior shows its modern relevance. Moving forward, rasa theory can be integrated into emotional research, psychotherapy, AI, and global studies of aesthetic emotion. So here are my references, and thank you. Now, if you have any question, then feel free to ask.
Krupali, my question is why it is important to study feelings even in science and technology?
Feelings helps us to understand people's emotions and what they are feeling, which we connect with ourselves. So in if we it compare with science and technology, so if science and technology also use that, so their tools and their ais and their robotics can also have a feeling, so it helps people to understand more than with feelings.
Second question is yet not displayed here, so reply in the comment. Yeah, next presenter.
So hello everyone, I'm Kumkum Hira. In today's presentation, my topic was about the drama and the aesthetics, a comparative study of art, Aristotle's Poetics and Bharat's Natya Shastra, academic information, table of content. Here the research question that how do Aristotle's Poetic and Bharat's Natya Shastra explain the emotional impact of the drama, and what are the main differences between the catharsis and the rasa in audience experience? Hypothesis: Aristotle's Poetics sees drama as a way to cleanse emotion through the the catharsis, where the audience feel pity and fear and then find emotional relief. On the other hand, Bharat's Natya Shastra focus on a rasa, where the audience deeply experience and enjoy different emotion. Aristotle's idea is more about the storytelling with a clear structure, while Bharat's theory allow for a more flexible and immersive experiences. The differences show how Western theater focus on a logic and order, while Indian theater values emotional expression and the spiritual connection. Introduction is about like dharma is a form of artistic expression that blend literature, performance, and the emotion to represent a human experience. Aesthetic is a drama means how art performs and create emotion. Here to major influence in a text in a drama theory like Aristotle. So Aristotle's focus on mimesis means imitation, and catharsis like emotion purification, and structure storytell is structure are there. In Bharat's Natya Shastra, like emphasize the rasa aesthetic experience like performance and technique and emotional transformation. Here about the Bharat Muni. Bharat Muni was a ancient Indian saga and dramatist and scholar. He introduced the rasa theory in Sanskrit, and he described Natya Shastra as the fifth Veda, divine created by Bharat Muni. So it introduced rasa theory and explained how drama should evoke emotion in the audience. Like his work influenced Indian classical theater, like a dance and the modern Indian cinema also. About the Aristotle, so basically we know about Aristotle, like he was a Greek philosopher, scientist, and he introduced the term of catharsis. He introduced mimesis, like arguing that a drama should represent a real life. He developed the concept of catharsis, where the tragedy purify emotion like pity and fear. Like his idea shaped Western drama from a Greek theater and a modern filmmaker. Here the Aristotle's poetic concept of a tragedy, like Aristotle defined tragedy as an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of the certain magnitude. Like a key concept of the mimesis, like drama should realistic reflect in a human action and emotion. Catharsis, like a tragedy, evoke a pity and fear, leading to catharsis, which purges excess emotions. Plot is a general elements. Like Aristotle believed that a well-structured plot is a more important than a character or a skeptical. Aristotle poetic and six elemental. Like a plot, a structure, a logical story with unity and casuality, like and the characters like a moral depth and believability, and characters like a thought, intellectual themes and moral significance, like addiction. The style and use of language, skepticals like opus visual elements, and through the secondary to plot melody. The role of music is shaping emotions. So Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, the divine of a nature of drama, like like according to Bharat, drama is divine and art form given by the god to express, guide, and entertain the audience. Like Bharat's Natya Shastra describe drama as a sacred art form created by Brahma to educate the entertain humanity. Some are key aspects of dharma in the Natya Shastra, like rasa theater. The emotional experience and drama should be deeply felt by the audience. Like a bhava means expression, like emotion displayed by actors must be clear and engaging. Integration of music and dance, like unlike Aristotle, Bharat value spectacle and the melody equality. The rasa theory, emotion experience and drama. So no composition in a can proceed without rasa by the Bharat Muni. Here the 9 rasa which is given in a rasa theory by Bharat Muni, like Shringar, Karun, Veer, Bibhatsa, Hasya, Rudra, Bhayanaka, Adbhuta, and Shanta. So in a Shringar rasa means a law of beauty we can find in Kalidas, Abhigyan, Shankutalam, when Shakuntala and Dushyant are meet, they create a Shringar ras like a Karun ras. Karun ras means pathetic. Also, we can find in Indian cinema like a movie like uh, uh, also. Also in in Indian mythology we like we know like- yeah, so hasya ras means in Indian cinema we have a movie like a Golmaal and Hera Fairy. We can find that hasya ras and the and the Rodra. So we all aware about the Lord Shiva's anger and Veeras. So we can find in a like movie like Bahubali, like how Bahubali fight against them like a Bhayanaka fear and terrible like Bibhatsa means disgust, who can see and like we feel like a disgusting, and Adbhuta like a wondrous, and amazed, and Shanta like peace and contentment. Comparative analysis and key difference like mimes versus rasa. Aristotle believed that drama should imitate a real life, wherever Bharat's Natya Shastra said that drama should create an emotion and experiment to transcendence reality. Catharsis versus rasa, like in Aristotle, poetic tragedy allows for a catharsis, a release of instant emotion. Like in Bharat's Natya Shastra, drama is a mean to sustain and refine emotion rather than purge them. The role of audience, like Aristotle say audience is a passive observer who analyze the drama intellectually, while Bharat's audience is actively engaged, experience and emotion to part of the performance. According to Bharat Muni, he says that in a play or a drama should have that 9 rasa, and in all 9 rasa they have compared the play. Like structure of the drama, like Aristotle require logical plot structure, while Bharat allow to flexible and storytelling with the music and the dance. Here the conclusion, like both Aristotle's poetic and Bharat's Natya Shastra are the essential dramatic theory, but they may differ to approach. Aristotle focus on a structure and realism, while using mimesis means imitation is a reflect real life and catharsis to purge emotion like a pity and fear. Bharat, however, emphasizes aesthetic experience and emotional engagement, where drama creates and refines emotional through the rasa. Integrating music and dance, despite their differences, both theories continues to shape modern theater, literature, and cinema, highlighting the drama universal impact. So there are references. Thank you. If you have any question, then ask Bill.
You'll take one question. Yes. Yeah. Trupti had asked a wrong name you use. No, Krupali instead. Krupali, you asked Kumkum last question. Yeah.
So Kumkum, my question is it possible for a player to include both Aristotle's catharsis and Bharat's rasa? Explain with an example.
Yes, it is possible in a play and cinema. We also can find a catharsis and the rasa also, rasa like a Veera, Shantras, and Shringaras. Also, we can find. We can take example from the Indian cinema like Bahubali. So in that movie, also have a Shringaras, Veeras, and also have a catharsis.
Okay, next you reply in the comment.
Okay, this is from my side. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Parthiv Solanki. Today my presentation topic is Dhwani in horror, the fear of the unsaid in the gothic fiction and films. These are my information, table of content, research question. How does the Dhwani with his empathizing the suggested meaning in the unsaid psychological horror in Gothic fiction and film, levering in the silence, embodied and the fear of the unknowing. Hypothesis is the Dhwani empathizing the psychological horror by the engaging the audience, engaging with the subaudience fear farce and making the amplify the terror and more the unstelling rather the empathetic horror and the through the suggesting symbolism and the narrative gaps. Gothic fiction and horror film evoke the deeper emotion and psychological response, refining with the fear and using unsaid and the unsensed. Introduction. The Dhwani is the concept of the Indian aesthetic. Introduced the Anandvardhana with emphasizing the unsuggesting the meaning or the explaining the dissonance and suggestive meaning, implying the rather than staying creation and deeper emotion and impacts. Dhwani is not directly connected with the Gothic and horror, but is the third type of the rasa Dhwani is directly connected with the concepts. In the understanding of the rasa theories, is the three type of the rasa and given by the in the Dhvanyaloka suggested by the Anandvardhana. A role of Dhwani in horror. Through the suggestive Dhwani evoke the fear not by the showing but implying the presence of the horror. Empathizing the dead silence is the silence and symbology of the metaphor through the role of Dhwani in horror, like use of the symbolism and metaphors in the setting of the play in is the most significant directly emotion connection with the audience. Dhwani in Gothic literature. How Dhwani is the like a third type is the Rasa Dhwani is connected with the Gothic literature. Is the unspoken dead is the sometimes the unspoken condition was the symbolic and the give a fear of the audience in mind. Symbolic darkness, shadow, error, setting, and the matches horror without any direct relevance. Psychological uncertainty, embodying the character in mind. Mindness, unreliable narrator create the Dhwani in like sequence. In the ghostly sequence in almost. And the power of silence is the sometime of the silence is the representation of the some horror scene, give a emotion to the audience. Classical example, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is the horrible, give a emotion directly connection. The novel never directly state of the whether Victor's observation or the creation exaggeration, the greater horror allow the readers to interpret the true means. The creator into always the and the victor is the creator, although sometime of the is the silent in the sometime of the given is the condition also we described. The creature of the often left rather than the scenes is the this one the suggested through the destruction and the evoke the rather than direct confirmation is the novel suggested the scientific ambition, unchecked ego, and the embodiment are the true horror rather than the just psychological monster. Description, icy landscape, and dark laboration and the isolated castless created the Dhwani like a mode where the terror lingers and the surroundings. These are the example. Dhwani in horror film is the describe the many film to in the connection in horror film. Fear through suggestion and atmosphere and sound through unsensed the horror and the shadow and lighting and figure like the enhance the fear through unknown symbolic visual metaphor, dream, sequence, and abstract imagery evoke the hidden lyrican of the fear. And the cultural fear, collective memory, the horror film tapped into the social existence and folklore and the suspense, fear, creating in a deeper response. A classical example of the this film, Heredity, in the 2008, it directly is the artist Heredity. It's the psychological horror film that explores the grief, trauma, and the in landscapely to fade through the uh, disturbing the family tragedy is the main trading the moment obscure the often the secret in the background and leaving the audience in the imagine in the worst. The film horror deeply tried to grief fate in horror room the making in the more unsettling film horror deeply tied to grief fate and the inherent trauma and making more unstill. These are the other example. Cinematic technique of the use of the dhvani imply the horror is the fear create the through the suggestive rather than the expect the visual forces and the audience to imagine wars. Atmosphere and sound symbol is the atmosphere also very important to the given emotion and symbolism, light and shadow, slow building the tension, unreliable narrator responses, manipulation, jump secrets, and symbolism and metaphor also is the use in the cinematic technique in the horror and to sequence by the Dhvani. Is the psychological impact and unsaid. The some sequence of the not speak any single
It's
dialogue.
already 8 minutes now.
Okay, sir. These are the Western and Indian literary tradition in the horrors. These are the conclusion. One is also
Slide. Just
Okay, sir.
summarize it. Yeah.
I also connected with the some symbolic and the metaphor and settings through the given emotions. These are the references. Thank you.
We'll take questions in comment.
Okay,
Give replies in comment. Okay. These are the questions asked to you. Next presenter can come. And this is another question. Reply in the comment. Okay.
Okay, so very good morning, everyone. This is Bhumida. On the last day of presentation, I'm here with a presentation on cinematic rasa, the soul of Indian storytelling. Here, personal information, table of contents. Hypothesis of my presentation is the concept of rasa, rooted in traditional Indian aesthetics, continues to shape narrative structures, emotional engagement, and visual language of Indian cinema, making it a distinctive and culturally resonant form of storytelling with increasing global recognition. A research question is, how does the traditional aesthetic theory of rasa influence storytelling techniques and emotional expressions in Indian cinema, and what role does it play in the global appreciation of Indian films? So very quickly we see this video.
You have to share with audio. Share again and tick audio mark. Then audio will go in the live. Otherwise, it won't go. When you present the screen, at that time there is one button that you need to put on, sharing with audio. At the bottom you will find also share system audio, and that is by default off in sharing in StreamYard. In StreamYard, when you are sharing, this all should learn. If you want to play video, audio in presentation when you are sharing in online, then you have to see that the audio button is on or not.
Here, sir.
Share screen, not there. Present, click present,
Present.
present, entire screen.
So there is option stop screen.
Hmm?
There is
Stop. First you have to stop because it is already
stop
sharing.
screen. Share screen. Entire screen.
Entire screen. Now at the bottom you will see the audio.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's begin with the introduction. So, Indian cinema has a unique storytelling style deeply influenced by classical aesthetics. The concept of rasa introduced by Bharat Muni in the Natya Shastra plays a significant role in shaping the emotions in the films. This presentation explores how rasa theory is reflected in Indian films, drawing from traditional performing arts and contemporary cinema. Rasa remains the foundation of cinematic storytelling, ensuring that audience not only watch a film but feel and experience it emotions deeply. So what is rasa? So very briefly we can discuss this. Rasa means essence or flavor in refers to the emotional experience and audience feel while watching a performance. First introduced in Bharat Muni in Natya Shastra, as we all know that, and these are the 9 rasa. So rasa in traditional performing arts. So Indian classical dance forms like a Kathakali, Bharatnatyam, and Kathak are structured around rasa, and the use of facial expression, gestures, and music helps evoke emotions. These traditional elements transition into Indian cinema, influencing acting, storytelling, and music. For example, Kathakali employs exaggerated facial expression and dramatic eye movements to instify emotions. Bharatnatyam also uses intricate mudras and rhythmic footwork to narrate mythological stories. We can find also this classical traditional dance. There is lots of emotion they are used. Rasa in Indian cinema. So Indian films, especially Bollywood and regional cinema, use rasa theory to engage audience emotionally. The combination of a song, dance, drama, and dialogues aligns with the classical aesthetic of Natya Shastra. Unlike Western realism, Indian films prioritize emotional impact over logical storytelling. So the influence of the Natya Shastra can be seen in how films blend multiple rasas within a single story. Here I taken 3 examples of the Indian cinema. So first is Shringar Ras, case study of romantic. So I taken this example, DDLJ. The film tells the love story of Raj and Simran, as we know, two individuals from different culture background who fall in love and during a trip of Europe, but most overcome traditional family expectation to be together. And DDLJ enduring popularity highlight how Shringar Ras, when combined with music, visuals, and emotions driven storytelling, creates an unforgettable cinematic experience. The film uses picturesque landscape of Europe and Punjab's mustard fields to symbolize romance, longing, and emotional depth. Here I taken the example of Mother India for the Karuna Ras. So Mother India movie released in 1957, one of the most ironic tragedies in Indian cinema, directed by Mehboob Khan. The film tells the heartbreaking yet inspiring story of Radha. She was a widow, and she had two childs, Birju and Ramu. And a mother who endures immense hardship to uphold her dignity and moral values. As a widow, she faces poverty, social oppressions, and personal loss, but remains unwavering in her duty as a mother. And themes of we can find in the movie, like themes of sacrifice, resilience, and suffering evoke deep compassion in viewers. So, through sacrifice, pain, and perseverance, Mother India leaves viewers emotionally moved, evoking Karuna Ras at its most powerful. And the third example of Adbhut Ras, I taken this movie, Koi Mil Gaya. So Adbhut Ras evokes a wonder, amazement, and curiosity, often through fantasy or extraordinary events. Koi Mil Gaya, film released in 2003, and a landmark Indian science fiction film directed by Rakesh Roshan. And the film masterfully combines fantasy, technology, and emotional depth to create a sense of awe among viewers. Through special effects, magical storytelling, and an emotionally engaging narratives, Koi Mil Gaya perfectly captures the essence of Adbhut Rasa, leaving audience mesmerized and filled with wonder. And in this movie, we can find this song, Idhar Chala Main Udhar Chala, so in which we can find Adbhut Ras. Influence of Rasa on Indian filmmaking style. So Indian cinema, especially Bollywood and regional films, is deeply rooted in the Rasa theory, blending of multiple Rasas in a single films, like a masala films. Example of a Sholay blends Veer Ras in its action scenes, Hasya Ras through its side characters, and Karuna Ras in emotional moments. The mix of melodrama, song sequence, and exaggerated expression make Indian films unique, attractive, engaging, and colorful, we can say. And example of Devdas uses music and grand visual to enhance Shrungar Ras. So the global recognition of Rasa in cinema. Indian cinema has again international recognition for its unique approach to storytelling, which is deeply rooted in Rasa theory. Scholars analyze how Rasa theory influence audience engagement and cinematic expressions, making Indian films distinctive from Western cinema. Indian films frequently win awards at a Cannes, Berlinale, and Venice Film Festival, proving the global impact of Indian storytelling techniques. Movies like Lagan, released in 2001, and RRR 2000, released in 2022, have introduced Indian cinema to mainstream Western audience, proving the timeless appeal of Rasa-based storytelling. So here I conclude my presentation. Rasa is the essence of Indian cinema, making films deeply emotional and culturally immersive. The function of traditional aesthetic and modern storytelling keeps Indian films vibrant and unique, prioritizing emotional depth over realism. And Rasa continues to shape how Indian films are made and experienced, ensuring their lasting appeal both locally and globally. So here are my references. And yes, thank you so much. Now I am open for your question.
Okay, questions you reply in the comment. Okay. These are your questions. Let me display on the screen. Okay.
Hello everyone. Today is our last day of presentation on paper number 109, and my presentation topic is Indian Poetics and Feminist Literary Criticism. So here academic information, table of content which we will discuss in detail, and then here is my research question and hypothesis. Research question: how do the principles of Indian poetics, particularly Ras and Dhwani theories, contribute to feminist literary criticism in redefining the representation of women in literature? And my hypothesis is Indian poetics, especially the Ras theories, emphasis on emotional experience, and the Dhwani theories focus on suggestion and subtext, provides nuisance framework for feminist literary criticism by analyzing the implicit and explicit portrayal of women in literary text. These theories allow for a deeper understanding of gender narratives, challenging patriarchal interpretation, and highlighting the complexity of female voices and in literatures. Here, Indian poetics and feminist criticism, aesthetic intersection. Indian poetics and literary aesthetics, Ras theory, emotions as the core of artistic experience. Then Dhwani theory is hidden meaning and suggestion in text is key thinkers like Bharat, Anandvardhan, and Abhinav Gupta. Then feminist literary criticism, a critical lens, challenge male-dominated literary interpretation, highlighting women's voices and experience in literature. Key theories like Virginia Woolf, Elian Scholter, and Judith Butler. Where they intersect, Ras theory and female emotional representation, Dhwani and the role of subtext in women's narratives, feminist reinterpretations of classical Indian texts. And then introduction to Indian poetics, definition and scope. Indian poetics, Bharatiya Kavya Shastra studies literary aesthetic, poetic essence, and audience impact rooted in Sanskrit and regional literature. Major school like Rasa School, Dhwani School, Alankar, Ochitya, Riti, and etc. Here, the significance and relevance emphasizes emotional and spiritual experience over structure and influence literature like drama, film, and cultural studies. Then, major schools of Indian poetics. Ras means emotion. This term coined by Bharat in Natya Shastra. Nine rasa evoke aesthetic pleasure. And then Dhwani theory means suggestion Anandvardhan in his treatise like Dhwanyalok about the true beauty lies in implied meaning. Then Vakrokti obliqueness and Kuntaka Vakrokti Jivit poetry thrives on creative deviation. And then fourth one is the Riti means style by Vaman in Kavya Sutra style and diction shape poetic beauty. Then Alankar ornamentation. This school by Bhama in Kavya about the figure of speech and enhance expression. And last one is Ochitya appropriateness by Kshemendra in Ochitya Vichar Dara. And in this represent harmony and balance, ensure poetic effectiveness. And here Ras theory, the essence of aesthetic, introduced in Natya Shastra by Bharata, later expanded by Abhinav Gupta. Ras means the essence or flavor of emotions in art. And nine rasa like Shrungar, Karun, Hasya, as earlier Bhumi mentioned in her presentation. Then process of rasa like Vibhav, Anubhav, and rasa. Vibhanubhav, Vyabhichari, Sayongat, Ras Nishpatti. That means rasa applied in literature, drama, dance, music, and films. Foundation of Indian aesthetic evokes emotions in the audience. Then Dhwani theory, the power of suggestion. Definition of Dhwani. Dhwani means sound or resonance, suggests a deeper meaning beyond the literal. Three levels of meaning like Abhida, Lakshana, and Vyanjana. Abhida means a denotion, literal meaning. Lakshana is a secondary meaning, metaphor, and Vyanjana is a suggested meaning. Dhwani. Types of Dhwani like Vastu Dhwani suggest an idea or concept. Then Alankar Dhwani suggests poetic ornaments, and Ras Dhwani suggests a deep emotion. Importance of Dhwani essential for poetics beauty, evokes Ras aesthetic pleasure, and consider the soul of poetry. Comparison with the Western theories like T.S. Eliot's objective correlatives, symbolism of Baldry and Melarum, and new criticism like intentional fallacy. Example like Indian Sanskrit, Kalidas, Shakuntala, and in English literature like John Keats' Ode to a Nightingale, and modern literature like T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. And feminist literary criticism, an overview, definition and scope, gender, power, patriarchy in literature, historical waves. First wave is about suffrage, second wave is gender roles, and third is intersectionality. Key concerns like representation, language, sexuality, and intersectionality. Major approaches like genotricism, Marxist, and psychoanalytic or post-colonial, and ecofeminism. And fourth, like a key figure is like Virginia Woolf, Millet, Butler, Judith Butler, and Wollstonecraft. And feminist reading like Hamlet, Jane Eyre, and the the Handmaid's Tale and Beloved. Contemporary relevance like expand canon, challenge bias, and engage the media. And intersection of feminism and Indian literary traditions. Key themes like patriarchy, caste, representation, female agency, myth, and intersectionality. Indian feminist criticism studies how Indian literature represents women, highlighting gender inequality, social oppression, and women's struggle for freedom. A writer like Mahasweta Devi, Kamala Das, and Arundhati Roy focus on issues like patriarchy, caste, and identity. Post-colonial theory examines the impact of British colonialism on Indian society and literature. It explores the themes of identity, cultural conflict, and resistance. Writers like Salman Rushdie, Rohit Roy Mistry, and Babsi Sidhwa addresses the effect of colonization and independence and connection. Post-colonial feminism highlights how Indian women face both patriarchy and colonial oppression, making their struggle unique compared to Western feminism. Feminist reinterpretation of myths like a Draupadi, Sita, goddesses figure, and case studies like feminist reading of Indian texts is here. Feminist criticism challenges patriarchy and gender norms in literature. Historical context like impact of colonialism, impact of colonialism and nationalism and social reform on feminist literature. Key themes like gender oppression, intersectionality, female agency, sexuality, critique of domestic roles, and post-colonial and feminist intersection, double colonization, subaltern studies, and gender language impact on contemporary literature like Dalit feminism, LGBTQ plus narrative, and digital feminism. And then here the major feminist literary works like first Rabindranath Tagore's The Home and the World, women's autonomy versus the nationalism represent, and then second like Rokia Shekhawat's Hossein Sultana's Dream, about utopian feminist vision, and third one is Shashi Deshpande's that long silence, about female silence and identity crisis. And here conclusion, Indian poetry is rooted in Ras and Dhwani theories shapes literary aesthetic, while feminist literary criticism challenge gender biases in these traditions by exploring their intersection. This study highlight the marginalized of women's voice and the need for inclusive interpretations. Of feminist lens help redefine Indian literature in Indian literary discourse, promoting gender equality and diverse narratives in criticism. And here's my references. And thank you. If you have any questions, so feel free to ask.
My question is, what are the challenging in the using the feminist literary criticism of the Indian poetics, and how can we solve them?
One big challenge of feminist literary criticism is the emphasize on what are the major concern about feminist criticism and Indian poetics like Rus about the emotions of women and portraying as the both concern in feminist literary criticism and Indian poetics.
Question you can reply in comment. Okay.
Okay. So this is from my side. Thank you.
This is your another question by Bhumi. Okay. Yes, by the time the next presenter gets ready, I have put one poll in WhatsApp. So just to give you the terms, in English, what is written for Ras and Bhav, rhetorical sentiments. So these words you have to use along with Ras, rhetorical sentiment. That is the English version for this, and Bhav, emotional states. This, and what is the connection? That is the poll that you can see. But vocabulary also you can enhance with the help of this. I was just looking at yesterday's this evaluation that you have given, and I see that Khushi Goswami has submitted very late at 11:30. Yes, so we tell that 30 minutes within the time that you end. And by that time, only few of you were able to give. Even around 3 o'clock, we ended our presentation yesterday. And around 4 o'clock, we have Bhargav, Jai, then Jyoti, Dhruvika, Khushi, Kumkum, Bhumi. So again, 30 minutes means what? That needs to be understood. 30 મિનિટ એટલે શું કહેવાય એ હજી સમજમાં નથી આવતું. પાંચમો દિવસ છે, આપણે we are constantly telling that 30 minutes means 30 minutes. એમાં કઈ લક્ષણ કે કઈ જોવાનું નથી આપણે, એમાં કઈ ધ્વનિ જોવાનું નથી. 30 મિનિટ એટલે 30 મિનિટ. ઊભા થાય એટલે બહાર જઈએ એટલે બહાર પહેલા એ જ કામ પૂરું કરવા. So within 10 minutes you can complete the work. So why these habits are not forming? That is the question. Habit formation for various things. And so our data gets distorted. If you submit late night, then other students have already submitted in between. And then it becomes very difficult to see that who has done work, who has not done the work. It multiplies my work to assess the thing. Comparatively, this group's work is good as compared to the evening group. In evening, there are lots of problems. People are still not understanding many simple things also. So they are not getting response back. They are doing it twice. They don't know the editing work, missing out the things also. So in that, if you will see all disturbed. You have 64. That is perfect number is there. But in that you will see then things are not okay. There are 15 students. And in 4 presentation it should be 60, but you will see that number is not matching. It means that people are committing mistake one after another. New people keep on doing the mistake. People don't repeat the mistake. Yesterday we told to Sanket, so he will be fast in doing the work, he will be first to submit. But then Khushi will be there to tell કે ના અમે એકાદો નમૂનો તો રહી જવા જોઈએ. એમ સાવ બધાના વખાણ કરે સર કે બધાએ સારું કર્યું, એમ તો કેમ ચાલે? એટલે એકાદો નંગ તો રહી જાય કહેવા માટે કે ના હજી હમ નહીં સુધરેંગે. હજી બીજા ઘણાના એમ હશે કે હજી અમારો તો વાંક આવ્યો નથી, ત્રીજા સેમેસ્ટરમાં આપણો વારો લેશું આપણે. સાહેબનો પગાર તો વસૂલ કરવો પડશે ને, એમને એમ આસાનીથી કરશું તો એમ થોડું ચાલે કે. So this, and even today we see 11 only have submitted. ગઈકાલના સાંજના presentation there are 15, so only 11. So I have to find who are this remaining 4. એને તૈયાર રાખવા પડે, પછી એના માટે મસાલો તૈયાર રાખવો પડે, આવે ત્યારે એની સર્વિસ કરવા માટે. તો this is what is happening કે આપણે પાંચમો દિવસ છે રોજ યાદ કરીએ તો એ 5 નંગ છે એમાં હજી એવા 4 નંગ છે, 11 આપ્યું છે, 4 હજી કે જે એમણે ફીડબેક નથી, એસેસમેન્ટનું કામ પૂરું કરેલું નથી તેની અંદર. So this is why we see that how difficult it is to work with art students. It is not easy કે એને એક વખત કહીએ અને સમજી જાય બધા. And we have a small group, 30 students. It is not 3000 students. 30 students ને પણ આપણે એક સામાન્ય વાત નથી સમજાવી શકતા. એમની પાસે એક સરસ રીતે કામ લેવું હોય તો એ બહુ અઘરી વસ્તુ હોય છે. That is why we say that well how difficult it is to work with art students. And that's why we conclude કે સમાજમાં આપણને બહુ લોકો પગાર નથી આપતા, તો એમાં આપણો વાંક છે ક્યાંક. We are still not capable કે એટલી ન ખબર પડી જાય કે મારી પાસે શું અપેક્ષા છે કામની. That I have to do. That there should be no chance કે I can do better than that. But limited simple વસ્તુ હોય એમાં તો ક્યારેય મને ટકોર ન જ કરવી પડે. એટલી વસ્તુ આપણને શીખવામાં બહુ વાર લાગે છે. This is why the problem happens with our performance in society also. So we need to see, we will keep on working. હજી ત્રીજા સેમેસ્ટરમાં આપણે કામ કરશું, ચોથામાં, અને તમે જોશો ચોથામાં હજી અમુક નંગ તો રહી જ ગયા હશે. 2 વર્ષ સતત ટકોર કર્યા પછી પણ there will be somebody who will not change. Change આવી જાય તો બહુ સારું. Then wherever you will go, you will do wonderful work. Otherwise, there will always be some problem that people will be complaining about our performance.
Hello everyone, myself Khushi Ravya and my today's topic is psychological vakrokti in Bollywood, dream, reality and metaphor in Tamasha. These are my personal information, table of contents. Research question. How does Tamasa employ psychological vakrokti and depict, identify conflicts, self-discovery and contrasts between dream and reality in Bollywood cinema? Hypothesis. Tamasa is effectively utilized psychological vakrokti to symbolism, non-linear storytelling, music and visual contrasts, allowing for a deeper exploration of the protagonist's internal struggle between societal expectation and authentic self-expression. The film's indirect narrative techniques enhance emotional depth and audience engagement, making it a significant case study in Bollywood's use of Vakrokti. Introduction. Tamasa movie published in 2015 by Imtiaz Ali is a cinematic exploration of identity, societal expression, and self-discovery using the aesthetic concepts of Vakrokti, indirect expressions. Instead of directly standing weights psychological conflict, the film conveys it through symbolism, metaphors, color contrasts, music, and fragmented storytelling. The contrast between dream and reality reflects his inner turmoil, making Tamasa a powerful example of psychological vakrokti in Bollywood. This presentation analyzes how the film subtly express emotion and conflict through visual storytelling and indirect narrative techniques. Vakrokti, this is a definition of Vakrokti. Vakrokti is when both word and meaning are artistically curved through the poet's skill. When properly arranged in composition, it becomes poetry, delighting those who understand its depth. The Vakrokti theory was given by Acharya Kuntaka in his work Vakrokti Jivita. This is an example of Vakrokti. As T.S. Eliot highlights the importance of learned scholar for writing poetry or even reading poetry. Similarly, Kuntaka told this only learned men can enjoy the real essence of the poetry. This is a six type of vakrokti. Six type of vakrokti: phonetic level, morphologic level, lexical level, grammatical level, contextual level, and thematic level. Vakrokti in cinema, the role of indirect expression in film. Vakrokti use a deviation from direct meaning to engage audiences. Films achieve ironic and Vakrokti based storytelling through contrast, subtext, and symbolisms. Vakrokti's cinematic application, juxtaposition, placing contrasting visual dialogues or soundtracks to create an indirect meaning. Self-referentiality, films refreshing their own artificial breaking the fourth wall. Vakrokti in cinematic techniques, editing choices, jumps, cuts, flex, or discontinuous narratives create a sense of irony or indirect meaning. Cinematography, camera angles, and lighting and color tones can suggest subtext. Psychological Vakrokti in Tamasha. Here is a brief overview of Tamasha movie directed by Imtiaz Ali and non-linear narrative and symbolic storytelling explore psychological conflict between societal conformity and personal identify. Films follow Wade's emotional journey and it meets external expectation, identity confuse, and emotional instability and fear of rejection of Ved. Through the Vakrokti, Tamasha conveys inner turmoil using flashback, poetic dialogues, and visual contrasts, making it powerful cinematic portrayal to mental health and self-discovery. This is contextual Vakrokti, Prakran Vakrata, using in this Tamasha movie, layered narrative structure. Life as a script performance. The film presents a meta-narrative where is a portrait as a pre-written script. Ved lives by a socially accepted storyline until the conform the artificial of that script and begins to rewrite his own. In this story, Ved's past and present mirroring layers its identify and his symbolize authentic creative self. in the character of double life highlights existential fragmentation, and all storyteller acts archetypal guard and Ved's self-awareness. The film does not acceptly state the Ved has debates or identity issues. Instead, his issue jump cuts, flashback, and contrasting setting to convey his psychological turmoil. Lexical वक्रोक्ति, पद वक्रता, मेटाफोरिक डायलॉग्स एंड एक्सप्रेशंस. की डायलॉग्स, अपनी कहानी खुद लिखो, राइट योर ओन स्टोरी, सिंबलाइज विथ सेल्फ लिबरेशन एंड ब्रेकिंग फ्री फ्रॉम सोशिएटल एक्सप्रेशन. डायलॉग्स दैट हाइलाइट्स तुम वैसे क्यों नहीं हो जाते जैसे कोर्सिया में थे. इट्स डायलॉग रिफ्लेक्ट्स वेट्स आइडेंटिटी शिफ्ट्स एंड suppression. Which dialogues about not belonging is corporate jobs subtly hint at his depression and identity confused. In Vakroti element is instead of direct exposition, the film uses poetic and metaphorical language to highlight Ved's inner battle between social expression and personal happiness. Grammatical Vakroti, poetic construction of dialogue. It's symbolizes stylic poetic using fragmentous rhythm and unconventional grammar to express inner turmoil and emotions impact, giving the audience as a visceral experience of Ved's disintegrated psyche. In this Vakrokti is unfinished sentence and broken speech and Ved's confusion symbolizing, and Ved's mirror scene use echoing is a repetition and emotional device, and formal versus informal speech marks emotional tension and highlight his syntax play. Uh, in music and poetry as वक्रोक्ति, song as a emotional expression. अगर तुम साथ हो in movies, this song is no direct dialogue, only music and express conveys pain, highlighting Ved's emotional turmoil. And song named Safarnama represent of self-discovery and freedom, mirroring Ved's journey. Vakrokti technique used in music symbolize in sound, soft melodic tunes during Ved's internal struggle reflect his sadness, and loud chaotic beats during his breakdown mirror his emotional instability. Lyricism and Vakrokti, instead of direct storytelling, the lyrics metaphorically express Ved's transformation, making his emotionally subtly powerful. Conclusion. Tamasa masterfully blends artistic deviation with psychological depth, turning Ved's mental struggle into a poetic experience rather than a direct exposition. Through fragmented storytelling, contrasting setting, and metaphorical dialogues, the film mirrors his battle with identity, emotions, and self-expression, making his journey both relatable and thought-provoking. These are my references. Thank you.
Okay, you reply to the questions in the comment. Yeah? This next presenter can come, and your questions are displayed on the screen. Okay. Questions should be asked pertaining to the topic. Now, if it is like this question, if you read, if it is a presentation on psychological study, then it is a good question. But if it is on Indian poetics, then the question should be connected with ras or bhav, and then it should be asked.
So hello everyone. Today's my topic is the use of rasa in Sanskrit and English literature and in cinema. Throughout this presentation, we are going to explore the four rasas, which are Shringar, Hasya, Rodra, and Veer rasa. Then we are going to explore the Natya Shastra's theory, and then the four rasas. And my research question is, how does the rasa theory manifest in Sanskrit and English literature and cinema? My hypothesis is rasa theory originated from Natya Shastra. It is
universal framework that transcended cultural boundaries, shaping emotional depth in both Sanskrit and English literature, literary and cinematic traditions. Then Natya Shastra, it is a work done. It is a work created by Bharat Muni between 200 BC and 200 CE. It serves as an encyclopedic guide to theatrical performances, and we can get information about it like from the slok nahi rasad ritya kaschid artha pravartate, means no meaningful idea is conveyed if the rasa is not evoked. The very core of Bharata's Natya Shastra, Natya theory, is the creation of rasa. Then the introduction of rasa theory. Rasa is seen as a flavor of essence. It implies to something that cannot be captured directly by the senses. The use of rasa in Natya Shastra has retained all these meanings, since in the Natya Shastra, rasa is used in a concentrated culinary and abstract aesthetic sense. Bharata's famous Rasa Sutra is Vibhuva Anubhava Vyabhichari Samyogat Ras Nishpatit, which means that when Vibhuva, Anubhava, and Vyabhichari elements are combined, they create aesthetic experience in the audience. And there are nine type of Sthai Bhava, which are Shringar, Hasya, Rudra, Veer, Karuna, Bibhats, Bhayanaka, Adbhut, and Shanta. Shringar Rasa, which means romantic and aesthetic delight. The erotic sentiment proceed from a dominant state of love, and it has a basic bright attire for whatever in the world is white, pure, bright, and beautiful, appreciated in the terms of dominant state of love. The example of Sanskrit literature, we can say that English and Sanskrit literature are bothly relevant one with one and another, and as rasas are always there in every literature, so I have taken the translation of the original work Shakuntala by Kalidas. It was translated by Ryder, and it is a particular scene when the king is saying to his clown that when he saw Shakuntala, then what kind of beauty he has saw in her. Oh, my friend, she needs not many words. She is God's vision of a pure thought composed in the creative mind. His reveries of beauty wrought the peerless pearl of womankind. So plays my fancy when I see how great is God. So she describes the Shakuntala as the ideal creation and vision of God. In Stringarasa in English literature, in English literature, we can see many examples. I have taken two from one is As You Like It, where Rosalind's beauty is described. Heaven, nature charged that only that one body should be filled with all graces wide enlarged. Nature presently distilled Helen's cheek, but not her heart. Cleopatra's majesty, Atlanta's better part, said Lucretia, modesty. And the second is Robert Burns' A Red Red Rose, where the lines like "Oh, my love is like a red rose that's newly spring in the June," that creates the Stingar Rasa's feeling in the mind of a reader. Then the Sringar Rasa in cinema, Before the Sunshine, which shows uh, it by the dialogue, if there is any kind of magic in this world, it must be in the attempt of understanding someone. Then there is in The Beauty and the Beast, which was published in the 1991, Love Beyond the Appearance. Its dialogue is a tale as old as time, true as it can be. The song embodies Sringar Rasa in its purest form. Then the Hasya Rasa, humor and wit. Comic sentiment has been basic dominant emotion of laughter. This is created by determinants such as showing unseemingly dressed or ornament, impudence, greediness, quarrel, defective limbs, use of irrelevant word, mentioning of different faults, and similar other things. Examples. So we have described how the king and the clown were discussing about the beauty of Shakuntala in the first slide. So the clown replies that did you when the king says that she was beautiful but she did not talk with me, then the clown humorously say, did you want her to climb into your lap for the first time she show you? That shows the humor in the uh, work of Kalidas. Then Hasya in the literature. I have taken one work from Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, which was written during 19th century, where Mr. Bennet says that for what do we live but to make a sport of our neighbors and laugh at them in our term. Then Hasya Rasa in cinema, I have taken many examples from the Hasya, like from one is from Deadpool, where we particularly believe that superhero should, what kind of superhero should it be? Like it should be masculine or whatever, like moral justice and that type of. But it's iconic dialogue. You are probably thinking that this is a superhero movie, but that guy in the suit just turned out that other guy into a kebab. That was this dialogue from Deadpool, while the other are Hera Fairy, where the wrong number scene and the famous dialogue of Babu Rao, like "Ye Babu Rao ka style hai," that has created a hasya in the audience. There are some other examples like Charlie and Chaplin's A Modern Time, which shows a silent comedy, then Dhamal and Welcome. Then Raudrasa, Fury and Worth. Fury and Worth are the basic elements shown in the Rakshasa, Devas, and Hoti men. It is caused by fight that created by determinants such as anger, rage, absence, insult, untrue alienation, theatering, revengefulness, and jealousy. And like that, I have taken two examples from Mahabharata. In the first example, it says that he crushed Kichak's leg, arms, head, and neck into a trough like a Shiva and destroying a beast. Then the second is Bhima squeezed Kichak and rode like a mighty beast. Then Rodra Rasa in English literature. First is George Orwell's 1984, where O'Brien angrily say, if you want to picture of the human future, imagine a boot stamping on the human face forever. Then second is the Frankenstein. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear. Then Rudra in movies, there is one movie like the Avengers Hulk, which is a character who has this ability or the power. Whenever he got angry, he increases his power. Then the second is animal. I am not a monster. I am an animal. Then third is Naperu, and the fourth is KGF chapter 2. Very violence, violence, violence. I don't like violence, but violence like me that created the Rodra Rasa in audience. Then the Veer Rasa, like whenever there is a heroic sentiment, it is presented in any literature or book that is called the Veer Rasa. I have taken an example from Mahabharata. It is not no surprise, Almighty armed Krishna, that with your you as his character, Arjuna achieves such as a feast of valor. Then Veer Rasa in literature. First, I have taken the example of Old Man and the Sea, where the dialogue "men cannot be destroyed, but men cannot be men can be destroyed but not defeated," shows the courage of the character. Then the second at John from the Lord of the Ring, where a day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not the day. Particularly shows the Veer Rasa in the character. Then in the movies, the Captain America, the first Avengers, says, "I don't like bullies. I don't care where they are come from." And in the Avengers Infinity War, the particular character of the Tony Stark says, "I don't know, but what exactly is your plan?" Asked Doctor Strange, and Tony Stark replies that, "I don't know, but when that happens, you'll be the first to know. We are fighting for our lives here." Then conclusion, and I'll be happy to answer your question in comment section. Thank you.
Okay, so your question is this one. You have to reply in the comment.
This is not working. Bhumi. થાતું નથી. થાતું જ નથી. ઓલામાંય નથી જવું.
કેમ આ જવાય બધામાં આ તારી છે?
નહીં. હાર બોલે થાતું.
આ રહી તારી.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Khushi Makwana. Today's my topic is Fry's influence on literary criticism. Personal information, table of contents. My research question is, how did Northrop Frye's theory of literary criticism influence the development of the field? Hypothesis: Frye's theory of archetypes, myth, and literary history significantly impact the study of literature, providing a framework or understanding text and their cultural context. Introduction: Northrop Frye was an Canadian literary critic and the theorist, best known for his groundbreaking contribution to literary criticism. His work, particularly Anatomy of Criticism in 1957, revolutionized the study of literature by the identifying recurring epitaph and mythical structure. Frye's ideas have profoundly influenced by modern literary analysis, making him one of the most significant literary scholars of the 20th century. Overview of Frye's theory, key concepts: the archetypes, universal symbol and the motif that recurs across the literature; the great code, the relationship between literature and the Bible; myth, foundational structure that the shape storytelling; archetypes in literature. Archetypes are the recurring symbols, themes, and the character types that the approach across different cultural and the time period, reflecting the universal human experiences. Example of archetype: the hero, central figure who embark on the transformation journey; the mentor, a wise guide who aids the protagonist; the journey, a symbolic passage representing the growth and the discovery; the quest, a mission achieved, the significant goal, often the involving trains. Recognizing these archetypes help the cover deeper meanings in the literature, revealing the shared accept of the human experiences. The Great Code. The Great Code, Fry explore the literature thoughts, the lens of the biblical text. Many literary works draw the upon biblical narratives as the templates of storytelling. This approach enhances the literary analysis by the revealing deeper themes of mortality, redemption, and the human nature. Myth and literature. Fry argues that the myths are the central to storytelling and providing the structure frameworks. He defined four myths in literature: comic, tragic, romantic, and ironic. Fry's influence on the later criticism. Fry's theory influenced structuralism, empathizing the understanding structures in literature; post-structuralism, examining in the instability of meaning. Critics like Harold Bloom's and the Judith Fetterly build upon the Fry's idea to develop their own literary theories. His work continues to inspire the new approaches to literary analysis. Conclusion: Fry's contribution provide a profound the framework to literary analysis. His theory on archetypes, myth, and the biblical influence on the literary remains in anciently to contemporary literary studies. His legacy endures as the foundation for the understanding the structure and the meaning for of literature. Here are my references, and thank you. If you have any question, then feel free to ask me.
In the comment. Okay?
Okay, sir. This is from my side, and thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to deal with the topic archetypes behind iconic brands. So here is my academic information. Here is a table of content, and here is my research question. That how do brand archetypes influence consumers' perception and loyalty across different market segment? And my hypothesis is brands that effectively embody a consistent archetype, such as the hero, the caregiver, or the jester, are more likely to build a strong emotional connection with consumer, thereby increasing brand loyalty and trust. Here is the introduction that archetypes are universal symbol rooted in the collective unconsciousness, shaping how individuals understand themselves and the world around them. In contemporary culture, brands adopt this archetype to forge deep emotional connection with consumer, align themselves with a timeless role such as the hero, the creator, or the outlaw. This presentation explore how brands function as a modern archetypes, influencing consumers' identity, emotional resonance, and the search for a meaning in a branded world. So what is the archetype? So archetype in literary criticism, a primordial image, character, or pattern of circumstances that recurs throughout literary and thoughts consistently enough to be considered a universal concept or situation. So as we know that archetypal criticism given by Northrop Frye, but my presentation mostly relate with Zoom's collective unconsciousness. So let's come to the topic. What is the collective unconsciousness? The collective unconsciousness is a part of psyche which can be negatively distinguished from a personal unconscious by the fact that it does not, like the latter, how it experience to personal experience, and consequently it not a personal acquisition. So collective consciousness depend on our experience and what we think and what is our observation and experience. Then the archetype of major brand. Some brands and marketing executive adopt the platform of archetype to represent brands. In a marketing perspective, we use archetype to interact with consumers' deepest motivation and give meaning to the product and brands associated with their conscious and unconscious desire. So here is some common brand archetype include, and let's discuss in detail. So first is the archetype of the innocent. Its motto is free to be you and me. It means available for all, and great example of Coca-Cola. And its slogan also is a Coke. It's a real thing. So that's how it represents the innocent archetypes, which characterized by pure, optimistic, nostalgic, and center and happiness and simplicity. Then the second is the explorer. Its motto is "Don't fence me in." So its motto is to be not in a restriction. So great example of the explorer is Starbucks. His logo also is inspired by Herman Melville's Moby Dick. The explorer archetype is driven by a desire for a freedom, discovery, and self-expression. So Starbucks is a 25 great global brand of the 21st century and 100 best companies to work for. Then the sage, its motto is the truth will set you free. So great example of the sage is MIT by Deepak Chopra. He is a Indian guy who found MIT for meditation and all those things to for people. So Deepak Chopra is a much sage brand as a MIT is speaking with an Indian accent. Chopra can easily embody the image of wise Indian guru in the public mind, which give everything he says additionally credibility. Then another one is the hero. Its motto is where there is a will, there is a way. So a great example of the hero is a Nike. Characteristic of the hero is everything seems lost, but then the hero rides over the hill and save the day. So how hero's journey come, that's where Nike represent his archetype as the hero. The company's central mission is to understand and inspire the soul of athlete, and its a current slogan, just do it, promote the heroic virtue of the courage to act. Then the archetype of the outlet. Its example are Harley Davidson and Apple, and its motto is rules are meant to be broken. So with the Harley and Davidson brand. There is a motorcycle was in a serious, its brand was in a serious trouble some year ago because the Japanese were selling a brand product at the cheaper price. But at the end, people know the value of this brand, and it comes under the archetype of the outlaw. Then the regular guy, so its motto is all men and women are created equal. So example is a visa and characteristic of a regular guy archetype that demonstrate the virtues of a simple being and ordinary people just like other. So visa position itself as a regular guy brand appealing to everyday people by promoting accessibility and inclusion. Its motto is everywhere you want to be. Then the archetype of the lover, its motto is I only have eyes for you. Example is a Victoria's Secret and a Hallmark cards, that lover brands are common in the cosmetic, jewelry, fashion, and travel. So here is a Victoria's Secret is a majorly attached with the cosmetic and spray, a perfume type of cosmetic. Then the another is the jester. Its motto is if I can't dance, I don't want to be a part of your revolution. So a great example of the jester is a Pepsi. The jester archetype include the clone, the trickster, and anyone at all who loves to play or cut up. Pepsi embodies the jester archetype by promoting fun, spontaneity, and careless lifestyle through its vibrant branding and humorous advertisement. Then the caregiver, its motto is love your neighbor as yourself. An example is a Campbell soup. So Campbell soup is a truly iconic, consistently invoking the nurturance of home, family, and mother's love, often in a way that trigger nostalgia. Then another one is the creator. The motto is if it can be imagined, it can be created. So it shows the courage to create something new. And a great example of the creator is a Sesame Street. And the characteristic of creator are that innovator and entrepreneur. This all world relate to the creator archetype, and the creation of Sesame Street in and itself is a wonderful example of a creator. Then the ruler, its motto is the power is not everything, it's the only thing. Example of Microsoft, that Microsoft exemplify the ruler archetype through its emphasis on a reliability, structure, and dominance in the tech world. Then last one is the magician. Its motto is it can be done. And example is a Disney. The magician archetype is all about transformation, vision, and making the impossible seems possible. Think innovation, mystery, and a deep insight. So brand legs are deeply perfect embody the magician archetype, creating own inspiring experience that transform audience to a fantastic world and turn a dream into reality. So here is one case study. It about it on the Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. So what archetype found in these three brands? So Apple is archetype of creator in nowadays. Then Facebook is archetype of caregiver in this time, and Amazon is a brand where a credibility expert and learning, that is all the stage archetype belonging to the independence and And last is a conclusion. Brands that embody archetypal identity tap into universal human emotion and desire, allowing consumer to connect with them on a deeper, often consciousness level. These symbolize association, go beyond functionally and aesthetically. In the world, by aligning with archetype, brands become a more than products. They become a meaningful narrative in the consumer's personal journey. So here is my references, and now you are free to ask question.
Okay, reply in the comment. We'll display your questions on the screen here. You should connect the words used by North of Fry to see that how he is taking into the mythology. His root is mythology, from which he is telling that how archetypes are being formed. So that can give a better argument for your presentation. More words, sentences, quotations should be used from original essay. Yes, start. Yeah.
So hello everyone, I am Jay Waghani and today I will going to deal with archetypal criticism in The Lion King 1994 Northrop Frye perspective. Here are my academic and presentation details, table of content, research question. How does Northrop Frye archetypal framework help interpret the narrative structure, character and symbolic elements in The Lion King 1994 as a modern myth? With hypothesis, The Lion King 1994 embodies Northrop Frye's archetypal mythology through its narrative structure, character role and symbolic pattern, thereby function as a modern myth. The reflects universal theme of heroism, transformation, and restoration. Introduction to archetypal criticism. Archetypal criticism explores how literature reflects recurring pattern, symbol, and myth founded across culture and time. Archetypal criticism is not just about literature and works of literature and everything. It is more about human expression and uh, it is more about human expression. Fry's view, literature is a unified body shaped by timeless archetypes. Critical analysis should focus on identify universal structure like the hero's journeys, sacrificial king, and cyclical seasons like comedy, romance, tragedy, and irony. This I will explore in the next slide. Uh, draw draw union psychology and mythological framework to uncover deeper narrative truths. Here is that for cyclic methods, which I connected with a season and also expression and theme and plot pattern. Comedy is connected with spring and it is explores renewal and harmony. Plot start with from confusion to a happy resolution. Romance is connected with summer, heroic trip, hero overcome trial and restores order. Tragedy I connect with autumn and decline and loss, fall of the hero through fate of flow. Irony is connected with winter, disillusionment and disorder, flawed reality with no heroic resolution. Cycle of life and literature. Fry sees literature as a reflection of nature and human cycles moving from birth, comedy to death, tragedy and realism, irony. The heroic journey in the Lion King. Simba's journey as the hero's journey. Ordinary world. Simba is a carefree cub in the Pride Lands. When Simba was born, he was carefree and he have not tension anything. But after that, his father was told that you don't have to go outside of our land. Then also he is go and there is his uncle trapped him and after that Mufasa was dead and Scar, who is his uncle, he is putting him down and then he is die, escaping into exile with Hakuna Matata. It is given by their both friends after the death of his father. Meeting the mentor, Rafiki and Mufasa's spirit guide Simba. So Mufasa and Rafiki both are give guide to Simba to go at his place because of his father's death. He was dead. He was go outside of his land and hide from everyone because everyone think that his father was killed by him. Crossing the threshold, Simba decided to return home. After the guide of Rafiki and Mufasa, he is returned to his land and fight with Scar and win kingdom and then they stay peacefully. Simba's transformation from guilt ridden exile to responsible king mirrors Joseph hero's journey, showing universal archetypal storytelling. uh, universal characters. Simba, who is a hero of this story, follows the character's hero's journey. He is first of all he is suffer from exile, and then he is a growth and return to fight with his uncle, and then he is a win. Musafa and Rafiki, they both are give guide to go through his place, and they both are teach them who you are. And Scar the shadow, he is represent chaos, betrayal, and the darker side of kingship. He is wants to do fight with his own brother. Timon and Pumbaa, these both are a friend of Simba. When he was go outside of his land, they both is given this code that Hakuna Matata, and from that he is feeling careless, and then he is also being careless person, and he don't go with his responsibility. Nala, she was also challenge, also teach Simba that who you are and where you have to be, and you have to be at your home, and you should care your family members. The hyenas enforce Scar's ruler and obstruct Simba's path to reclaiming the throne. These are villains of Simba's father, and they all are helping to Scar to being king. The Westland and the Dying King archetypal. Mufasa, the Dying King archetypal, symbol of justice and cosmic order. His death leads to a kingdom's spiritual and ecological decay. Scar's rule the Westland. Scar's region plunges the pride's lands into drought, darkness, and disorder. When Scar is going in the rule, then land is become darkness and disorder, reflects the mythic wasteland causes by falls of corrupt ruler. Simba's return, restoration, and rebirth. Like this theory is also connected with archetypal criticism, and he is born, and then he is die and rebirth. The exile and return of the hero. The exile and return of the hero is talk about Simba. Simba's exile. Simba's flees after Mufasa's death. Classic heroes exile phases. This also trapped by his uncle Scar, who is tell to Simba that you are responsible for your father's death. That's why he is leave his land, and he is gone in jungle, and then Timon and Pumbaa both are meet him, and grows in wisdom and self-awareness. Return and restoration of order. Returns to challenge Scar and reclaim Pride Rock. His homecoming restore justice, fertility, and balance. Death, rebirth, archetype. Symbolic death, loss of identity and purpose. Rebirth, accept his role as a king, futiling, and heroic cycle.
Oh, you have to end, huh? You have taken 9 minutes.
So this trickle role is by this they're both friend he is give Hakuna Matata, and good and evil. Evil was his uncle, and the Lion King as a modern myth. Here is all are this cyclic method, and conclusion. Northern Price theory of archetypal criticism provides the powerful lens through which the Lion King can be understood as a modern myth rooted in timeless narrative patterns. Simba's journeys reflected the universal structure of the hero's transformation, exiled and return, co-responsible to Fry's mythoi of tragedy, irony, romance, and comedy. The uses of archetypal characters such as the hero, mentor, shadows, and trigger demonstrate how ancient symbolic roles continue to shape contemporary storytelling. Ultimately, the Lion King illustrate how deeply embedded archetypal structures are in literature and film, reaffirming Fry's belief in the cyclic universal nature of human narratives. Here are references, and thank you.
These are your questions. You reply in the comment.
Hello everyone. Today I am dealing with my presentation topic Northrop Frye myth and archetypal theory. This is my personal information, table of contents, research questions. How does Northrop Frye's myth and archetypal theory contribute to our understanding of narrative structures and a universal theme in literature? Hypothesis. Northrop Frye's myth and archetypal theory provides a universal framework for analyzing literature, demonstrating that recurring patterns, symbols, and characters, archetypes shape story telling across cultures. By identifying these underlying mythic structures, Fry's theory enhances our ability to interpret literature's deeper meanings, reinforcing the idea that storytelling follows fundamental timeless patterns. Introduction. Northrop Frye's 1912 to 1991, a prominent Canadian literary critic, developed a theory centered on the idea that literature is structured by recurring myth and archetypes. His influential work and Anatomy of Criticism 1957 outlines how universal symbols and narrative patterns influenced by Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious shape literary works. Essentially, Fry proposed that literature across cultures and time follows predictable cyclical patterns and archetypal forms. Archetypal criticism key concepts. Archetypes, these are universal symbols, patterns, or character types that recurs across different culturals and time periods. Fry, influenced by Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious, believed these archetypes reflect fundamental human experiences and psychological patterns. Mythos. Fry's organized literary narratives into four primary mythoi, which correspond to the seasons. Comedy means spring, represents rebirth, renewal, and social integration. Romantic means summer, embodies romance means summer, embodies idealized adventures, heroic quest, and triumph over evil. Tragedy, autumn, depict the fall of a hero, suffering, and the inevitability of fate. Irony, satire, and winter focuses on disillusionment, chaos, and the critique of societal flaws. The four mythos literary modes. Comedy. This mythos is associated with the season of spring, representing rebirth, renewal, and the triumph over obstacles. Narratively, it often involves a movement from disorder to order, culminating in a happy ending, such as a marriage or a social reconciliation. It emphasizes themes of integration, harmony, and the restoration of social order. Romance, linked to the season of summer. Romance embodies idealized adventures, heroic quotes, and the victory of good over evil. This narrative typically features heroes who embark on a journey, face challenges, and ultimately achieve their goals. Adventures and the pursuit of ideals. It highlights themes of heroism. tragedy. Correlating with autumn tragedy depicts the fall of a hero suffering and the inevitability of fate. These narratives explore themes of human limitations, hubris, and the tragic consequences of choices. It focuses on the decline and fall of individual or on societies. Irony associated with winter, irony and satire focus on disillusionment, chaos, and the critique of societal flaws. These narratives often employ satire, irony, and the cynicism to expose hypocrisy, corruptions, and the absurdity of human behavior. It shows a world that is fallen and often without easy redemption. The five levels of archetypal meaning. North of Fry's five level of archetypal meaning offer a structured approach to literary analysis. Descriptive level focus on the concrete element of the story, and the second descriptive formal level identifies the recurring patterns, images, and and the motifs within the text, and the third formative generatic level examines the work's genre and its conventions. And fourth, mythical archetypal level recognizes universal symbol and patterns that connect literature to cultural myths. And fifth, anagogic level views the text as a part of a grand imaginative vision reflecting the totality of human creating expression. Fry's influence on literary theory. Northrop Frye's influence on literary theory is profound, shaping structuralist and archetypal criticism. Archetypal criticism emphasize recurring symbols, myths, and patterns in literature in works across cultures. The Anatomy of Criticism, 1957, established a systematic framework for literary analysis categorizing literature into cyclical myths and genres. A structuralist approach viewed literature as part of a broader interconnected system rather than isolated text. Myth and genre theory defined four main literary modes: comic, tragic, romantic, and ironic, and linked them to seasonal cycles impact on literary studies. His work led to foundation for modern comparative literature, intertextuality, and genre studies. Applications of Fry's theory. Literary analysis helps identity archetypes, mythic structures, and genre patterns in text, deepening interpretations. And second, comparative literature connect work across different cultures and time periods through recurring myths and symbols. Third, genre studies clarifies how literary works fit into established modes: tragedy, comedy, romance, and irony, and there's cyclical nature. And fourth, creative writing guides writers in structuring narrative using archetypal patterns and universal themes. And fifth, education provides a systematic approach for teaching literature, emphasizing interconnectedness rather than isolated text. Criticism and limitations of Fry's theory. Lack of historical context. Critics argues that his universal approach overlooks historical, social, and political influence on literature. And second, rigid structuralism. Some finds his classification or genres and archetypes to rigid, limiting more fluid or hybrid literary forms. Over emphasize on myth. His focus on mythic patterns may reduce individual works to predetermined structures, ignoring their uniqueness, neglected of authorial intent. Fry's approach treats text as part of a broader system rather than considering the author's personal vision and intent. And conclusion, Northrop Frye's myth and archetypal theory highlights the recurring structures and patterns in literature, emphasizing the cyclical nature of storytelling through myths, archetypes. Understanding these archetypes, such as the hero's journey or the seasons of literature, enhance our ability to analyze texts beyond their surface meanings. And these are my references, and thank you. Now your friend ask me a question.
To the questions in the comment. Okay?
Okay. Thank you for this is my side.
Your questions are displayed on the screen. Okay.
Hello everyone, myself Ruth Vipal. Today I am going to discuss Northrop Frye and the death of authorial intent, structuralist perspective. Academic information, table of content, and my research question: how does Northrop Frye structuralist framework challenge the dominance of authorial intent in literary criticism, and what are the implications of this shift for modern interpretive practice? And my hypothesis is Northrop Frye's structuralist theory redefines literature as a system of mythic and archetypal patterns independent of authorial intent, thereby democratizing interpretation and evolving the autonomy of text. However, this detachment from historical authorship raises a tension with ideological and cultural reading, particularly in the feminist and post-colonial context. Introduction. Northrop Frye structuralist vision. Frye's in autonomy of criticism sees literature as a system of recurring genres and archetypes. He writes, the artist does not create ex nihilo. Like Ruchiman notes, structuralism uncovers the independent social relation. Frye applies this to literary form and structuralism in literary theory. Structuralism keeps a deep cultural pattern. Frye's archetypes echo Levis' stress, isomorphism, different stories, some hidden structure. As Runjiman says, meaning lies in the total myth structures of culture, but he warns these may reduce art to code breaking. Authorial intent under critique. Frye's shift focus from author to structure. Runciman support this to study from. We must study it generative process, but Frye's myth-based system can ignore historical roots. Its strength is also its blind spots. Frye's legacy and tension. Frye's cynical view treat literature as a timeless, like so serious language system, but it Runchiman asked, can it solve the clash between idealism and imperialism? Frye leaves us with a method and a debate. Not this is a biography of Northrop Frye and Frye's key ideas and lasting influence. Frye's archetypal criticism sees literature as a shaped by timeless myths rooted in collective unconsciousness. His structural approach shifted focus on the author to cultural pattern, laying groundwork for a structuralist and post-structuralist thoughts. By framing all structural within a shared mythic network, Frye anticipate idea of intertextuality and cultural meaning that define postmodern criticism. Structuralism in literature theory. What is structuralism? Focus on how parts of text connect, not what the author meant. Frye sees literature like a language, but built on recurring myths and symbols. On universal in structure. So stories follow myth a pattern like the hero's journey. Fries link these two narrative cycles. Romance incarnates the yearly cycle. Romance reflect the ideals, desire, no conflict. Uh, critic of Fry's structuralism reveals the pattern, unifies literature, ignore history and politics, oversimplify desire and characters, roles, reduce desire to abstract cycles, doesn't explain how literature affects society. And Fry's method is powerful for pattern analysis but less effective for social and emotional depth. Fry's structuralist approach. Structure is equal to system. Fry sees literature like the periodic table, structures universal, timeless, draws on myth and archetypes to create meaning. Four forms of prose fiction classify literature by tone plus perspective. Novel, realistic, and outward facing. Romance is the inner world and myth tone, and convention is a personal and physical, while autonomy is abstract and satirical. Myth versus Dainoya. Fry split fiction into mythos, story and structure, and Dainoya. Criticism of the models. Scholars argue that category versus too fixed. Fry is accused of ignoring time history in his system, and Fry defends it. Fry's system treats all genre equally, no hierarchy. It's inductive, built from reading actual text, not just theory, and its legacy. Fry's work inspired narratology and post-structural method, but critics say it can't handle historical or cultural change well. The death of authorial intent. Fry's move from biography to myth. Fry move us from asking what the author meant to how literature use myth. Literature use myth and myth versus ideology. Authors are shaped by ideology, but literature transcends those. Fry says ideology is applied mythology, partial and political, against traditional and surface. He critiques a traditional reading as to force on author's message, emphasize myth versus depth, what Fry's calls underthought. Black poetry more about cosmic structure than political intent, and uh, contribution and controversy. Positive often takes to border implication, highlight the mythic power. Problem like risk erasing authors, especially marginalized voice who use literature to speak back. Fry's perspective on authorial intent. Fry's core idea that argue that meaning in literature comes from myth, not the writer's personal story. Literature is a displacement of a mythology. Autonomy of the text. A novel is made from others' novel. It exists within a closed literary system. Fry move away from biography to structure and intertextuality. Romanticism sees authors as visionaries. Fry disagree. Classical thoughts says the art copies really. Fry says literature creates its own world. And Fry's warns against the reducing text to conscientized message. He values the deeper symbolic layer to underthought, implicate and debates. It's empower structure analysis beyond the author, and it concern that can silence authors from oppressed background where intent matters. Implication for literary criticism. Symbol versus reference. Fry show that meaning shows meaning flow both inward myth and outward society. Then not just idea texts are shaped by what character and readers long for. For example, Emba's Brewery's tragedy is born from a comic yarning, not realism. Time and timeless. Even historical texts reflect the internal mythic pattern. Paradise Lost is read through the misstep that teach us mythic truth and criticism as ethical labor. It's not just interpretation like a cultural and invasion. The past is our buried life. We uncover ourselves through the text. Fries versus deconstruction, where deconstruction sees a collapse. Fries offers humanist coherence. Literature can resolve purpose, not resolve it. And Fries remind us that literature perspective and motives, and in doing so gives us back our voice. Conclusion. To conclude, Fry revolutionized how we read literature, not as a personal expression, but as a part of a broader mythic system. His rejection of authorial intent gave rise to universal reader central criticism. By focusing on archetypes, structures, and desire, Fry's help us see literature as a map of human consciousness across time. Even with valid critique, his framework still empowers us to interpret text with depth and cultural awareness. In today's fragmented world, Fry's vision reminds us literature hold meaning not just in what it says, but in how we connect into the larger human story. These are the references, and thank you. This is from my side.
Yes, next one, you can reply in the comment. Yeah, your questions are here.
Hello everyone, myself Gohil Dhruvika. Today I present my presentation topic is the role of archetypes in literature. These are my personal information. These are table of content. Research question: how do archetypes enhance storytelling and readers' engagement in literature? And a hypothesis is, if literary works incorporate archetypes, characters, themes, and symbols, then they will create a deeper emotional connection with readers and enhance narrative effectiveness by reinforcing universal storytelling patterns. These are biography of Northrop Frye's. Introduction. Archetypes are universal symbols, characters, or themes that recur in literature, mythology, and psychology. First introduced by Carl Jung, they present fundamental human experience and emotions, creating connections between stories across cultures. Examples include the hero, the mentor, and the tricksters. Why are archetypes important? Archetypes are essential in literature because they provide a familiar framework that helps readers connect with stories on a deeper level. Since archetypes are universal, they allow authors to create archetypes, themes, and narrative that resonate across different cultural and time periods. Reader instinctively recognize these patterns, making it easier to relate to the struggles and emotional of fiction's characters. By tapping into this shared human experience, archetypes enhance storytelling and making it more immersive in and impactful. Additionally, archetype serves as a guide for character development and plot structures. They help writers craft well-rounded characters with clear motivation, ensuring throughout the story. Whether it's the hero's journey, the battle between good and evil, or the transformation of a character, archetypes provide a foundation that keeps narrative engaging and meaningful. This timeless storytelling too continues to shape literature, mythology, and modern media, reinforcing the universal themes that define human nature. Types of archetypes in literature. First is character archetypes, second is situation archetypes, and third is symbolic archetypes. First, character archetypes. These represent recurring characters typed with distinct traits and roles, such as the hero, the mentor, and the villain. They help shape the personalities and journeys of literary figures. Second is situational archetypes. These are common story patterns or plot structures like the hero's journey, the quest, or the battle of good versus evil. They define how narratives unfold and create familiar storytelling frameworks. Third is symbolic archetypes. These include recurring symbols, object, or setting that carry deeper meanings, such as light versus darkness, knowledge versus ignorance, or water versus desert, that life versus desolation. They add depth and thematic richness to stories. Example in classic literature, Shakespeare plays Hamlet features the tragic hero as Prince Hamlet struggle with fate, morality, and revenge. The Tempest present the mentor archetypes in Prospero, who guides and influence other characters. Second is Greek mythology. The Odyssey follows the hero journeys. The Odysseus facing trial, mentors, and transformation on his quest home. Third is fairy tales. Cinderella portrays the weak stepmother, a classic villain archetype. Pinocchio include the wise mentor represented by the blue fairy or Geppetto, guiding Pinocchio toward wisdom and maturity. Archetypes in modern literature and media. These are books: Harry Potter's, The Hunger Games, and Percy Jackson. And movies: Star Wars, The Matrix, The Lion Kings. And TV shows are Game of Thrones and Stranger Things. These are my conclusion. Archetypes serve as the foundation of storytelling, providing a familiar pattern that resonate across cultures and time periods. They help shape characters, themes, and narratives, adding depth and meaning to literature. By using archetypes, others create stories that feel both timeless and universally relatable. Whether in classic literature or modern media, archetypes continue to shape storytelling and reinforcing the universal themes that define human experience. These are my references, and thank you. Now you feel free to ask a question.
Okay, you have saved the time, so we can take a question for you. Yeah. Yes, Ruth, we can ask.
Okay, my question is to you. Can a character present more than one archetype?
Yes, character can embody multiple archetypes throughout a story. For example, a hero may also act as a mentor to other as they grow. Next question.
Vika, my question for you: are your archetypes only found in literature?
No, archetypes appear in many forms of expression, including art, religion, film, and even dreams. Thank you. This is my side.
By the time she gets ready, I have shared a link in WhatsApp also about this website, updated with the presentations. Okay? So as we are doing the archival of all the presentations, the link is shared earlier. Digital portfolios of last 5 years are also linked here. PhD coursework research, and from 1921 batch, that was the corona year, we started doing live streaming. And so all the presentations are archived on this website, and this website is regularly updated. So your batch is at the bottom, 24-26, and this is the second semester presentations. When you click on that, you come to a new page where all your presentations are linked. On the first day, we had slight confusion, so American, and that is given in that manner. And we had some electricity, this internet problem. So you have done some self-shooting, so that videos are also embedded here. Okay? this is how we expect that you also should be working on your digital portfolios on a regular basis. If you keep on doing the work, then at the end of the fourth semester, it won't be a burden. Otherwise, it will be a huge burden. So if you have started working on your digital portfolio by now, it is very good. You have seen the digital portfolios, and you might have started, or you should start. That is expected. Samajhdar ko ishara kafi. But because we are art students, we do not understand this ishara. Samadari cannot be expected from us. So many of you might not have yet started, but still take a time. Vacation time, summer vacation time, you will be completely free. You will get no messages, and you can utilize your time to cover up the work. So that then in third and fourth semester, regularly you keep on updating. And the way we are doing, you also can do. All these things are updated regularly on this website here. So if it is not very difficult task. And if we can do, you can also do. You are much younger than us. So you are more techno savvy than us. They have a huge gap, age gap. I am born in 20th century. You are born in 21st century. So you are more tech savvy. You should be giving me some ideas that this way we can work. I am an old fellow. You are young people. So I hope that in third semester when we begin, everybody will have digital portfolio and regularly updated. So in the fourth semester, there is no burden, because there will be dissertation writing, annual function, lots of presentations. This time the exam is late, so they got some time. Otherwise, everything is in a quick succession. You don't get any time also to work. So you always have to be ready that we have a very less time and lots of work to be done. Okay, so last presentation of this session.
Hello everyone, myself Khushi Goswami. Today's my presentation topic is figurative language as a tool for manipulation. How advertiser and politicians are used I.A. Richard's concept of figurative language. These are my academic and presentation detail. Table of content. My research question is, how do advertisers and politicians use figurative language as a persuasive tool to shape public perception and influence decision making? Hypothesis is advertiser and politicians strategically employ figurative language such as a metaphor, hyperbole, and emotional appeals to evoke a strong emotion, simplify complex issue, and subtly manipulate audience perception and leading to increasing persuasion on the engagement. Brief overview of I.A. Richards. He's a British literary critic and rhetorician. His key works are The Meaning of Meaning, Principle of Literary Criticism, and Practical Criticism. He introduced close reading techniques of criticism, and he emphasized that meaning is layered and context or depend. What is figurative language? Figurative language is refers to use of non-literal expression, metaphor, smile, and personification and symbolism in literature. It conveys complex idea, emotion, and abstract thoughts. It transcends the surface meaning of words, and it enhances the reader's imaginative and emotional experience. These are four components of figurative language, which I.A. Richards highlighting a multiple layer of the communication, like of the meaning, like a sense, feeling, tone, and intention. Advertiser and politician are masterly used used manipulation to influence the audience to beyond the surface layer of the words. Figurative language in advertising. Here implied the metaphor, like for instance in the company Nike, its slogan is just to do it. Here figurative language used as a metative, perhaps with an implied metaphor, and its effect is encourages action and determination to associating Nike with success and motivation. implied challenge to convention. For instance, in the Apple, its slogan is "Think Different." So here, the figurative language used as the imperative, perhaps with an implied challenge to the norms, and its effect is position Apple as innovative and forward thinking to appealing the creative individuals. Figurative language in political disorder. Politicians craft a slogan and speeches using figurative language to frame narratives, inspire loyalty, or even lift open chants. These tools make their message memorable and persuasive. In the Indian politician frequently use figurative language to evoke strong emotion and simplify complex issue. Like metaphors, slogan, and repetition help them create compelling narratives that resonate with the publics. For instance, Subhash Chandra Bose used to say, "Tum mujhe खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा." So he's a metaphor for hyperbole and direct appeal. As like Jawaharlal Nehru, tirist with destiny, it means a metaphor for India's journey post independence. Case study of our prime minister's use of figurative language. Figurative language is a optimistic metaphor for installing hope for change. For instance, "अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं." This slogan was context of a cornerstone of Modi's 2014 election campaign. Its effect to the perhaps projected hope and positive change, it promising a better future under the BJP governance. The manipulative power of figurative language, it emotive use of language prioritize emotional reaction over rational thought, influencing perception. It shape public opinion and subtly the persuasively, and strategic messaging. It carefully crafted rhetoric can guide audience responses without them realizing it. In conclusion, figurative language is a strategic tool that shapes opinion, simplifies message, and strengthens emotional connection. In advertising and politics, it enhances persuasion, making communication more impactful. So, recognizing these techniques help individuals think critically and resist manipulative messaging. These are my references, and thank you. If you guys have a question, feel free to ask.
Okay, we'll take one question. Okay.
How can figurative language affect our thinking?
Figurative language feels us rational, or that influence us to seeing things in the different way. So these how did figurative language affect us, our thinking.
Okay, there is another question that you can reply in the comment. Okay. Okay, so with this we end this season, second season. I hope you might have learned many things to see that how you can not only work on your content and presentations and other punctualities also, which is very important. The nitty-gritties of doing everything with punctuality, with precision is also very important. And we do not get quite often a time that all are present and we can tell things that what way people need to improve in the way we are taking our work, or we are grooming ourselves as a part of work cultures. Okay? So we end this session here. Within 15 minutes, we will start our the last session for the evening students. Okay?